Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Warkar Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Christian's word, truthfully and sincerely. Shalom to the Akim, scattered in the four corners of the globe. Christian's word, truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim that be like unto the speckled bird. Christian word, truthfully and sincerely. And I say shalom to you Akim out there. And this is outside walk and talk lesson for In the News, September 19th, 2022. And this is a news article from RT.com. Was recently recorded September 18, 2022. As of yesterday, RT World News, alternative world news around the world. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads for In the News for today on September 19, 2022. And it reads, top U.S. general freights over Russia's next move. American troops in Europe have been put on heightening alert, bracing for Moscow's reaction to setback in Ukraine. It says a American top general has reportedly reviewed defenses at a base in Poland and called for the U.S. troops in Europe to be at a heightening state of readiness, amending uncertain over how Russia will react to battlefield struggles in Ukraine. The war is not going too well for Russia. Right, that's what they say, which is probably not true. But continue on with the reading. It says right now it's incremented upon all of us to maintain a high state of readiness alert. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley, told reporters on Sunday after visiting an unidentified base in Poland. The base's report traveling with Miley. Right, because I did a report on this, I say not too long ago about, the Russia-Ukraine situation might further into getting nations involved like Romania and places like Moldova, and a country like Moldova as well too. So it makes sense. It says the base reporters traveling with Milley was sworn to secrecy about locations were built shortly before Russia launched its military offense against Ukraine last February. It has reportedly been a key hub for training Ukrainian forces and delivered weapons to the former Soviet Republic. It says because of its role in the conflict, U.S. officials have suggested that the facility could become a target for an attack by Russia. And I believe it was an attack on some type of certain base. It was close to Moldova. So they brought up a report not too long ago about a potential Romania and Moldova might get involved in this war between, with the Russia-Ukraine. This Russia-Ukraine war might further down to different parts in that region over there, And it says, I'm particularly interested in checking things out like protection to ensure that U.S. forces are in an adequate state of readiness in the event of anything ever happening, Milley says. He added that Russia's recent territory losses in the Caucasus region doesn't necessarily mean there's an increase of threat on the attack of U.S. forces. Russia been sending warnings to the United States. Right, Russia and Moscow have been sending warnings to the United States, so there's going to be an increase of threat towards the United States and its armed troop forces that's stationed over there in Europe. Conducting a war, you just don't know with a high degree of certainty what will happen next. It says Russian officials have warned that Washington has been made it's a directly party to the Ukraine conflict, which the Pentagon even boasting about the involvement of Kharkiv's battlefield success. The U.S. has sent more than $15 billion in direct military aid to Ukraine so far this year, has deployed more than 10,000 additional troops to Europe. Milley reviews the Polish-based air defense, including 2 Patriot missile batteries. He claimed that the conflict has entered a new phase. Right, probably a different strategy on both sides of Ukraine and Russia. Having gained the strategic initiative, I meant to say Slovakia. Because of that, we have fairly closely watched what Russia's reaction to that will be. So yeah, this is another sign of Joel 3:9. Wake up the mighty man, prepare for war. As you know, the U.S. top general was wondering, he was kind of frightened over what's Russia's next move going to be. What this so-called Russia is losing military power gain in that region over there in Ukraine and different parts of Ukraine as well too, because they've been held in the position down for quite some time. And it might be 100% true and accurate that Ukraine might have gained some area to gain their some of their parts of their country back. That might be 100% true, but I don't think Russia necessarily lost this game. I don't think of that though. But I'm gonna bring out since I mentioned the Joel 3:9. This is the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this amongst the Gentiles. Prepare war, wake up the mighty man. Let all the men of war draw near and let them come up. Matthew 24:6. Right, because Yahweh Shem Al-Shai is putting that war in these Russians. What you can read in the book of Ezekiel 38 chapter, first verse all the way down to verse 7, you know. Because these other nations, they're going to gather up with Russia and all these other nations as well too. That's why Yahweh Shem Al-Shai is setting up these other nations of being continually, increasingly being that propelled for war type mindset. And that's what we're seeing, these things increasing of the, you know, nations increasing against one another and different kingdoms as well too. Matthew 24:6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet, right? Because all these things are going to continue to increase, and these things are definitely going to come to pass as these tensions definitely increasing between the nations and kingdoms, like I mentioned before, you know. So that's why the end is not yet, because more other prophecies are coming as well too. You know, that MOTB, because that MOTB going to come right along with the Revelations 11-14. Second war was past, and behold, the third war coming quickly. You know, in Matthew 24:7, for nations shall rise against nations, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines. Right, there shall be famines and pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places. Right, because earthquakes in diverse places. Because it's gonna increase now more than ever. You know, what we're seeing, you know, that's taking place on, you know, this planet Earth. So it's gonna increase more and more and more. You know, these nations rising up against nations and kingdom against kingdoms. You know, and that's what we're seeing. And Yahweh Shem Al-Shai is definitely gonna put that increase war-like tactic on the Russia, because Russia represents the bear. You know. Magog, Gog and Magog, and that's the modern day Russians, you know, in Turkey, Ethiopia, Libya, all those nations are going to join into when this you know, this war kick off, you know, that even though we're seeing wars kicking off in many different nations and around the world, but we're going to see it get closer and further in the battle with Jehoshaphat, Yahweh's decision in the Middle East, So these tensions are definitely increasing now more than ever, Matthew 24:8. These are the beginning of sorrows, right? Because these are the beginning of sorrows of what's about to expect to increase more and more and more between the nations and different kingdoms rising up against one another, especially when it comes to this warlike readiness between the nations and different kingdoms. That's why you've been seeing the increase of these wars and military training, these military exercise trainings within these nations and different kingdoms. Nations purchasing military aid, nations getting military assistance from their allies. So these things are definitely increasing more and more and more, as we get to approach the Revelations 11:14, as I mentioned before. Second war was past, behold, third war coming quickly, So with that, this was just a quick outside walk and talk lesson. I'm about to head to class. Right, I'm about to head to class. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. Shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and a ball.